Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night. Dos Santos versus Ivanov, heavyweight clash of the ages. Man, this was a pretty intense fight. I was scared for JDS throughout the whole fight. I was like, oh man, it looks like he has it, but you never know. Anyway, so this is a post-fight rundown of the main card, and we'll see how well I did on my predictions and my afterthoughts as well on this card. So this was an overall pretty good card. I was pretty happy with it, and so the main event was a 5-rounder. It went all 5 rounds, and I was somewhat shocked, but not too much shocked, because I was like, either it's going to be a quick fight in the first round, or it's going to go 5 rounds, because Ivanov could be hard to finish, or either one finishes the other one in the first round. That's kind of how I was thinking this fight could play out. Anyhow, so JDS, Junior Dos Santos, he won every round 10-9 and got a unanimous decision victory over Blagoy Ivanov, 50-45 unanimous decision for all 3 judges. And yeah, this was a stand-up war, and there was some clinching up against the cage, but not too often, and it was just periodically. And JDS did a great job of staying in the center of the cage and moving left to right instead of moving backwards too much, and it paid off. His footwork paid off, his working the jab paid off, and he didn't overcommit on those overhand rights constantly like he used to. Yeah, of course, I'm sure he would love to land an big overhand knockout punch like he did against Kane in the first fight he had against Kane. But yeah, you know, if it's there, it's there. If it's not, you know, you gotta still work that jab and stick and move, and you know, come up with other game plans, because you can't rely on just one knockout punch. And I think JDS came into this fight knowing that, because you know, the Sambo wrestling background of Ivanov, I mean, you overcommit on one shot, boom, next thing you know, he shoots a double leg, takes you down, and you're on your back. So JDS won this fight fair and square, outpointed him, and just pretty much stick to move, and it worked. So JDS is definitely back in the top 7 in the heavyweight division as far as I'm concerned. And then in the co-main event in the welterweight division, we had Sage Northcutt versus Zach Otto. I knew Zach Otto's wrestling would be an issue here for Sage. However, I was thinking, you know, because Sage trains at Team Alpha Male, that his takedown defense would pay off here, and that's why I picked him. But then, you know, I will admit, in that first round, I was sort of like, should I pick Sage Northcutt? And I was like, well, he's not too clueless on how to get out of this, and he got out just fine. Arai Faber gave him some good advice, so he would get out. And then I knew Zach Otto was getting more and more tired, and Sage Northcutt did his thing, and he landed some second round, it was KO punches win for Sage Northcutt, after Zach was just burnt out from shooting for those takedowns all the time. And so second round, KO punches win for Sage Northcutt. Great big win for Northcutt at welterweight. I was a bit on the fence about him going to welterweight. I kind of felt before this match he should have stayed at lightweight, but he knows his body better than anyone else. And it looks like so far so good for Sage Northcutt. Then in the featherweight division, we had Rick the Gladiator Glenn, a Team Alpha Male guy, also against Dennis Bermudez. Now, Dennis Bermudez did land a lot of takedowns throughout the fight on this card, but Rick Glenn was outlanding on the strikes according to the stats they were showing during the fight. And I think that's what won Rick Glenn the fight. I mean, Bermudez would take Glenn down, and then Glenn would maneuver out of it, and then get back to his feet, and then get taken down again and get back to his feet. And so the takedowns weren't doing a whole lot I mean, they were pretty much just getting Dennis Bermudez points. But then when you factor in Glenn was outlanding Bermudez on strikes, that kind of negates it a little bit. So you know, you could argue this fight could have gone either way, but I wouldn't call it a robbery giving it to Rick Glenn by split decision. That pretty much sums up that fight. And then in the welterweight division, we had Nico Price versus Randy Brown. And Nico Price is a longtime veteran of the UFC's. And Randy Brown, he's from Dana White's Looking for a Fight. Yeah, Nico Price, it's hard to pick against him. I mean, the guy is well versed. The guy has pretty decent wrestling, decent jiu-jitsu, heavy hands, pretty good takedown defense. And he won second round KO punches. And I'm glad I picked him on my fantasy on this one. I think I picked first round. Anyways, I have to double check my stats. But anyways, he won KO punches. And I think, may have picked first round knockout on that. But anyways, Nico Price, big win for him. And Randy Brown's no slouch, and I'm sure he'll be back in the UFC. Then in the featherweight division, we had Chad Money Mendez going up against Miles Fury Jury. This one I was somewhat shocked, but not too shocked. Because I'll admit, I gave like Miles Jury like a 60% chance of winning this fight by knockout or submission. But then I was like, if Chad Mendez is going to win, he's probably going to win by knockout or out wrestling Miles Jury. I don't see Chad submitting Miles Jury. And Chad won first round TKO punches. It was a big win for Chad Money Mendez. He needed this win after a long layoff with the USADA suspension. And it's going to be fun and exciting to see him back and where he goes in this division now. Does he rematch Cub Swanson? Does he fight, maybe Alexander Volkanovski? You know, that sounds like a good fight. Alexander did call him out. Anyhow, so that's going to be exciting. Then to kick off the main card in the women's bantamweight division, we had Cat Zingano, Alpha Cat Zingano versus Marion Renault. And this was just takedown after takedown after takedown after takedown after takedown for Cat Zingano. And it got her the win 30-27 on two of the judges and 30-26 on the third judge. Cat Zingano just had dominant positions and was working a little bit of ground and pound. And then if the fight went back to the feet, it would be takedown again. And Marion Renault just had no answer with the takedowns in this fight. But I think, there's a couple times where Marion Renault pulled guard and was looking to get a submission. And I thought, okay, you know what, this is playing into Marion Renault's game. But then Cat Zingano, I think, was well trained for this fight and knew that ahead of time. And it paid off. I say give Cat Zingano a rematch with someone she's lost to, like she said, after the fight. I would like to see Marion Renault fight someone in the top 15 in women's bantamweight to see if she can get back in that title mix. Both Cat and Marion both have some more interesting fights coming up in the UFC as far as I'm concerned. Cat Zingano, this is her first win in a long time. And wow. I was not expecting her to win this fight, to be honest with you. I was expecting Marion Renault to get a submission somewhere in the mix. So when Cat, by the end of the fight, I was like, oh, Cat clearly won this fight by unanimous decision. And sure enough, the judges got it right. And so now it's interesting to see where does Cat Zingano go from here. And then Marion Renault, I'm sure she'll be back in the UFC and we'll see more of her. And I can't wait to see that. So there you have it. That wraps up my post-fight for this one. And stay tuned in the coming days for my pre-fight for Shogun versus Smith UFC Fight Night. So until then, I will see ya.